So the homie Matt just put up a new video and it is entitled WWE is about to have a big main event problem. Now, I have not seen this video yet, but I'm wondering if he's going to be covering what I've already said before, which is I think the women's division is in much better shape long term, or at least in the next 10 years, than the men's division. Now, I'm wondering if that's what he is going to be covering, because in the thumbnail, I think he has Cody, Roman, and I want to say Seth. And we know that in 10 years, they are not going to be the ones that's at the top of the card. I don't think that's going to be the case. But let me shut up. Let's go ahead and see what the homies Matt is talking about. Appreciate you, big dog.
Thank you.
Shout out to Matt, man. He's definitely showing some love to the channel, but let's see what he's talking about. Hold on, let me unmute and let's get to it.
I'm starting to wonder if WWE is going to have a big main event problem right at the tippy top, specifically in the men's division. Right. I'd love you to comment below for me if you can. Do you agree, disagree?
See, that's why me and the homie are right here. That's why we right here, because that's exactly what I just said. But let me shut up and let him finish talking.
And who do you think is going to be at the top of the mountain in WWE in the next couple of years? I started to go through a list and I wanted to cover with all of you what the state of WWE could be looking in the crystal ball for like 5 years from now. Because I really started to think about who is at the very top of the main roster. From John Cena, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Brock came back. There are so many names at the top, and while we can all dispute and have a conversation about the current storyline state of the top of the card from Raw and SmackDown and how compelling the stories are, I do think that there's a ton of talent, but it's older talent. And while it could be great right now for some people, I can see that it's going to be a big problem down the road.
And that is exactly my point, because we talked about the Trick Williams, the Carmelo Hayes. I mean, the Braun Breakers are there. Like we talk about these guys, but when you look at the women's division, even before I even go there, even with the Drew McIntyres, the Damian Priest, the Jey Usos, like whoever you want to say, they're all in their late 30s. Some of them 40s. 10 years from now, they're not gonna be at the top of the card. We already know Rey Mysterio is on his way out. AJ Styles is headed on his way out because they're closer to 50 than they are 40. So in the men's division, who's gonna run it up in the future? And I don't know if WWE is not. I'm not even gonna say I don't know. They aren't doing a good job of building future male superstars. They have something with Braun Breakker right now. Bronson Reed, I'm not exactly sure how old he is, but when it comes to the women's division, fam, take your pick. We got Stephanie on the come up. We got Julia on the come up. We got Lyra. I'm not even talking about the NXT women like Lash, Jada, Lola Vice. Who else? Sol Ruka. Like it's so many that they got down. And I know I'm missing some names. Jordan Grace. Who's running with the titles right now with TNA and NXT? Oh man, her name is leaving me, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all let me know in the comments who I'm missing. It's probably gonna just come randomly in the middle of this video. But there's so many people who are compelling in the women's division that are young talent on the way up. Can't say the same. It's like it's very crowded at the top for the men, but they're all older talent.
I want to look at just the men's side. The women's division, funny enough,
Tiffany Stratton, how I forget about her.
As I went through like all the names and then even looking at names that are in NXT, I thought that I'm like, man, they're gonna have a really solid women's division like now and
in
over
the future,
next several years.
Right.
Like I think that they are just loaded there on the women's side.
Right.
And it seems odd that from NXT's developmental, even at the top of the NXT division, men's division, there's only a couple of names, and that's where
I kid y'all not. I promise y'all, I did not watch this video. I did not watch this video. This is just a testament that me and Matt are on the same page.
Start to wonder who's really going to be at the top. Who's retiring? Who's going to be part-time? Are we out of all of the big WWE legends? For example, John Cena, he's going to be retiring come December. And not only do I think it's a huge monumental moment of having John Cena, representation of the Ruthless Aggression era, one of WWE's biggest names, biggest superstars, biggest draws.
I thought he was going to be a heel still
is
after
going
this.
to be gone. And I think it really speaks to an entire generation of...
Oh, damn. Hold on. My camera stopped. My camera acted up. Oh, here we go. Issues, streamer problems. Am I right? I can't even say streamer problems because this ain't even a live stream. All right. This is what your content creators have to deal with if you didn't know. And my camera is definitely off center. There we go. All right. Anyway, we're back.
Legends in WWE that are finally going to be saying goodbye. No more one-off appearances, no more WrestleMania matches where they come back randomly. I think John Cena really does represent a lot of these giant names that are finally saying goodbye. The ones that give you the nostalgia kick and all of that, because I am thinking of names like Cena, HBK is retired, Triple H is long gone, Undertaker's done, Stone Cold, The Rock makes his final boss appearances whenever he feels like it. There's so many of these legends that I know that I grew up with that it's finally over, and it kind of feels like John Cena, outside of maybe the odd other person, but for that giant level superstar, really feels like the final one that's going to be saying goodbye. So Cena's gone in December. You have the return of Brock Lesnar. We have no idea what Brock's term is going to be and how long he'll be in WWE. Brock might be around for a couple of years, and it could be just that whole break glass, add Brock Lesnar to a match.
I'll be honest, I think that Brock needs to run this with Cena and be done, because we've asked the question of who should be John Cena's final opponent. I know all of the legal stuff going on with Brock Lesnar. Again, the man's not on trial. I'm not here to discuss morality because it doesn't really matter. I don't have any say-so whether or not Brock is here or not. I personally could do without Brock Lesnar. I think that we should be building people like Jacob Fatu or Braun Breakker to be these unstoppable, formidable forces. If that's the direction that we want to go in, I don't think we needed Brock Lesnar. But if we want to put a ribbon on John Cena's career, Brock Lesnar would absolutely be in contention to be his final opponent. Edge would have been another one, but he's in another company. So I don't know who else. We've already seen him go up against Punk. We've seen him going up against Randy. So, I mean, or Cody could have been the last one, but they've already made the face turn. So with Brock being here, I think Brock should come in, do his last little stint with Cena, and bounce. But even with that being said, Brock Lesnar is on his way out. So the question still stands: who's gonna be a top guy in the future?
Because we need him. I don't know if we'd ever have like an official retirement from Brock, because I think he's something like 48 years old.
Right.
He's under 50. While that might seem old, Brock's just a giant mountain of man that I feel like he could go until he's 60. Undertaker went way too long, but he was still able to walk to the ring. Goldberg went way too long. He was still able to go. So I think Brock Lesnar has the best shot of kind of going the distance in WWE. If he wanted to, if WWE wanted it and the fans wanted it, I think Brock could be. Maybe Brock is actually, as I'm thinking about this, maybe Brock is the final one from like the Ruthless Aggression era that could make the distance and be a super old veteran that when he's like 62, he's still coming out there jibbing and jiving and doing his whole thing. You never know. So Brock, let's put a pin in Brock. The other giant name is an obvious one, Roman Reigns. Roman has even done interviews where he's talked about how he's got a couple of years left with WWE.
Right.
Roman Reigns himself is going into Hollywood a little bit here. He's dabbling in a few different things. And as we've seen over the last couple of years, Roman is on that very minimal schedule. And they put him in for the big matches, big moments, big PLEs. And he's a giant superstar, giant draw.
And Roman honestly has done, in my opinion, he's done everything he needs to do. At this point, anything else is just the cherry on top. Roman has given us one of the best, along with his family and the bloodline, the NYA, Fatu, that whole dynasty. Like, they've given us some of the best television for a long-term story. All of the peaks and valleys, all of the highs and lows. Roman really doesn't, he still moves the needle, but he doesn't really need to do anything else. If he decides that I'm done, I'm hanging up my boots, and I'm going to go the Hollywood route, by all means, bro, you have absolutely earned it. And let's not forget, man, the man was battling leukemia, left, came back, and then went into all of this, dodged, situations with COVID. Roman has literally done everything. We can't ask any more of Roman Reigns, bro. We can't. And if we do, we just being ungrateful. Because if anybody missed it, you can go back and rewatch that. Oh my God. Why do you think Jey Uso is even in the position that he's in right now? That bloodline storyline literally redefined Jey and Jimmy. They made them individuals. Yes, they're twins, but they are their own people. If anybody's saying that they can't tell the twins apart now, they're just being funny. Like they have their own identity, and even with Sami Zayn, Solo Sikoa getting brought into it, that was one of the best storylines. And Roman was the spearhead on all of that. So I mean, once Roman leaves, man, there's really nothing else that there's nothing else he owes us.
Said John Cena being kind of like the last of a generation. Roman Reigns is also one of those giant names from the modern era,
right?
That everyone is going to be saying goodbye to pretty soon, I think. By all accounts, Roman has like, what, 3 to 5 years maybe left? And you know what? He could stretch that out for 5 years, but he'd be making those big appearances like a WrestleMania, and that's kind of it. We still get enough right now, today. We still get a decent amount of Roman Reigns. Like, he just came back for SummerSlam. It seems like he's going to be at Clash in Paris in a match. I would expect him to be at Survivor Series, Rumble, WrestleMania, those giant shows, the stadium shows. And so while it will be exciting to have the tribal chief around, Roman's gonna be gone in the next 5 years. That's a huge hole.
That's a big loss, bro.
That's what she said. But it is a massive
That's
name,
funny, bro.
Massive, huge superstar that WWE is not gonna have at their disposal anymore. Then I started going through the list of other names that are kind of inching towards retirement. AJ Styles comes to mind, who now,
I said that
today,
earlier.
It sounds like AJ is maybe in his final year. I've seen some interviews and posts online that he might be winding down right now. Love for him to have one more John Cena match, to be perfectly honest. But AJ Styles is a legend in the business, and his time is coming up. Randy Orton Randy just seems to wrestle forever.
Bro.
Like, as long as he's healthy, I think Randy's just gonna be like Undertaker, and he's just gonna keep going till like 60. But he inked like a 5-year extension or whatever it was. But Randy's gonna be around, but again, it's that 5-year mark where I'm kind of looking at the next 5 years of WrestleMania, like WrestleMania 45 or 50, and there's no more Randy Orton. Cody Rhodes is an interesting one, as he's our current WWE champion. Cody's fairly young, and for most of the wrestlers today in WWE, they don't wrestle as often. Like, the guys at the very top of the mountain, right? They're pulled back. They do more of those like PLE appearances,
right,
a ton of promos in the ring, but they don't wrestle all the time,
weekly,
every single week on TV.
Right.
So their bodies aren't breaking down. They're not doing live events. So it really does preserve them, which is a great thing. But then they end up just doing talkie segments every single week on television. Cody Rhodes, I think, is in the next couple of years. I think he'll still be around by the time we get to WrestleMania. Like,
see, the issue with that is, yes, we'll have Cody, but who's gonna be his dance partner? Because he can be around, but you have to have somebody for him to go up against, and that is where the holes are needing to be filled. As he said, that's what she said. But I don't know, man. What I'm hoping though. I'm hoping, before we even finish, I'm hoping that we are wrong. But as it currently stands, it just looks like who's going to be the next up. I mean, you have the Dominik Mysterios, but do we really see Dom in like the main event picture? If we're being honest, we're not doing the whole trolley thing and we like Dom, we trying to root for the heel. Like, if we're being dead ass honest, do we see Dominik Mysterio in the main event? Who else is another one? Braun Breakker is one that I can see in the future. Carmelo Hayes, they need to be doing more with, in my opinion. Trick Williams is not even on the main roster yet. Ilya Dragunov, I don't know where he is. I know he's been hurt, and I'm not even sure how old he is. Gunther, I mean, I don't see Gunther being a prime player. I don't know. Like, I'm thinking like in the ilk of the Roman Reigns, John Cena, like that top of the card. I don't know if Gunther gets there. I don't know. CM Punk, obviously, he's closer to the end than he is the beginning. Seth Rollins is closer to the end than he is the beginning, even though he is a phenomenal athlete and he is interesting as hell. I don't know if we have him around for a super long period of time. I hope I'm wrong. Because I want him to burn it down. I want him to be around. But if we thinking realistically, the new talent that's coming up, what are the names?
45, 47, 49, 50. I could see Cody still being around, but at that point, in 5 years from now, Cody himself is probably winding down a little bit. He might be on the Roman Reigns schedule, if not, maybe even a little bit less. LA Knight, yeah. He's in his like 40s already. LA Knight was like older coming into WWE. He's been around for so long.
Like
Somebody
20
who's been
years.
mixing it up in the world title scene, seems to be inching towards that on Raw. But LA Knight might only have a couple of years to go. Seth Rollins, CM Punk. I mean, Punk is already coming towards the end. In 5 years, I don't think CM Punk is around anymore. Seth Rollins, though, I don't know. I feel like Seth could just, if his knees stay together and he stays healthy, Seth could just be 55 and still just going. But even that, Seth is gonna become more of the part-time act and more on the casual side. You gotta figure. Like, Seth is one guy I always pops in my head of, he's always on TV, he's always wrestling, he's always like on Raw, and he's in matches, and he's at like every show, and he's always performing. That guy, I feel like, needs to get some flowers at some point, because the work he puts in.
I have been saying this for years, bro. Like, of course now everybody's gonna give Seth his flowers. But do y'all remember Roman was still the champion and they were ushering in this new World Heavyweight Championship, and everybody tried to say it was the second place championship. People were trying to say, and I know there's revisionist history happening, or it was happening, because I remember the tweets. I remember when people was commenting on my posts and my videos, and they were saying that they were getting tired of seeing Seth Rollins wrestle and defend the championship because he was the workhorse championship, or he was the workhorse champion. Now he's, however many years later, he's gotten the championship back that he was the inaugural champion for. And now everybody wants to say that they mess with Seth Rollins. But I remember this has been a consistent thing like across Seth's career, where at some point Roman is the guy that everybody's pushing or accepting, but Seth doesn't get his just due. And listen, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, you didn't see the comments that I saw. You did not get the reactions that I got. I promise you, I'm not making this up. Why would I do that for somebody who I actually am a big fan of? People were really saying that they were not as into Seth Rollins. And now that he's pretty much has the biggest faction, or the most important faction on WWE, now they're wanting to go in and say, oh, well, we love Seth Rollins and he has the theme song and all this stuff or whatever. Like, I was there. I was there. So I absolutely agree, man. Seth deserves more credit than he's getting even today.
Is tremendous, like a lot of them. But I do think that in a couple of years' time, Seth's got to be kind of pulling back a little bit more. Now, not to go through like every single person on the roster here, but other names, Gunther, I think, would still be around, and he's going to be looking at like really in your main event scene. Yeah, sure, Gunther's getting maybe a little bit older. I think he's in his late 30s. He's not that old, but Gunther is probably going to be one of your headlining main event acts. Rey Mysterio comes to mind. I think Rey is just always like just working. So Rey never retires, but I think Rey is probably going to retire.
Rey got to retire
in a couple
soon,
of years'
bro.
time. Maybe have one final Dom Mysterio match. You never know. The Rock won't be wrestling anymore by all accounts. Will he still make final boss appearances?
I hope so.
I kind of think that will wind down pretty soon, as there's nobody really at the tippy top for Rock to insert himself with. John Cena will be gone. Roman Reigns is very casual part-time, so I think the window for that match itself is gone. Messing around with Cody's already done that. I don't see Rock showing up much anymore in a storyline perspective to get the final boss character in there where it makes sense. Although
Rock has, I'm sorry, man. Rock has to. He has to come back and tie up some loose ends. He has to. Because the stigma around him right now, I think that even if he just shows up for Cena or Cody in some capacity and just closes that chapter, and if he never comes back, I think that'll be enough to do the damage control. But I think him not showing up at Mania, even though he never said he was going to show up at Mania, him not showing up at Mania made everybody feel away. And then them sending Travis made him feel away. And they feel like the story was incomplete. But I have a different take on that. I'm going to keep that off of this video because I don't want to make this video too long. But I feel that there is a need for Rock to show up and just kind of do a little damage control, even if it's just like you come in and make an appearance and start a storyline, finish a storyline, and then be out if you don't want to be a part of it. That's just my opinion, because otherwise people are it's going to be always the what if or Rock should have if he doesn't come back and finish something.
as I say that, not a lot of the Rock stuff even made sense. And other names like Kevin Owens had the neck surgery. He's out. We have no idea if Kevin Owens will even come back to wrestle. I hope he does, if it's what he wants and he's healthy and can do it and wants to do it. Kevin Owens is somebody that I would love to have that one more match type of thing He might be like a Stone Cold situation where maybe Kevin Owens is gone for a couple of years, and then over time he's able to have one more brawl at WrestleMania. But Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, they're winding down too, or at least they will be. Drew McIntyre, I feel, is going to be probably at the top, but Drew is getting on the older side too, where probably done in the next couple of years on a full-time basis. I'm probably missing some names, like Jey Uso pops to mind too. I think Jey will be around, but will he be, headlining WrestleMania, main event night 2? I don't see that. So you can see right there that a ton of those current main eventers, it's great right now, or it has been great over the last few years, mostly thinking of things like the Bloodline storyline, Cody Rhodes finishing the story,
classic,
really cool wrestling storylines that we've had that have been these giant sagas and going on for a long time, and they've done a lot of great stuff. The return of CM Punk to WWE was a fantastic moment. I loved it, but I just can't help but feel like, man, all the current names that are sitting around at the very top of the card, Roman, Cody, Randy, Punk, Seth, Drew McIntyre, I don't think that they're gonna be there at the tippy top in 5 years time, but what do you think? So it leaves me wondering, what is next for WWE? Because it's gonna be a big problem in the main event scene unless they are currently thinking about who is going to be headlining those WrestleManias, and they're probably gonna try and push one or two people to be the next big poster boy, because they always do. One way or another, WWE has that franchise superstar that they go behind. Who's next? Braun Breakker? Maybe. But starting to think about who's going to be at the top of the card in 5 years time, probably get some people that are still around a little bit, like today. I'm thinking Cody Rhodes probably be on that part-time deal. So you could have Cody still maybe main eventing some stuff. Seth on a part-time basis in 5 years time. Yeah, maybe Seth is still in a main event. But on the current roster today, who are they kind of hitching their wagon to? I think Braun Breakker is the one.
He's the guy.
One that WWE at least is thinking and hoping he's going to be our guy, babyface or heel, over the next several years. You had Paul Heyman doing the Errol Houani show, and he was even talking about how it's Braun Breakker. You hear it on TV all the time. WWE is really pushing that narrative in story, but also outside of it, that Braun Breakker is going to be the future of the company. He's going to be the next main eventer. He's going to main event WrestleMania after WrestleMania in a couple of years' time. And I don't really doubt that. If all things go well for Braun Breakker, the sky's the limit. Seeing him in 3 to 5 years where he's just a dominant WWE champion, it could totally work. Multiple storylines you can have, and you can have Braun Breakker retire certain people here and there. Like, there is so much you could do.
We gotta get Braun Breakker and Brock Lesnar. That's one that we have to add to the schedule. I don't know how. If you're going to have Brock here, he has to cross paths with Braun Breakker at some point. But that is the other issue. If Braun Breakker is going to be the guy, who is his dance partners? Who does he have feuds with? We can see that they're possibly, and I hate to even do this, but for the sake of this video, this is what we're talking about. I'm not going to talk about how we get there, but just spitballing. At some point, Braun Breakker and Seth Rollins, I can see happening. Braun Breakker, Roman Reigns, we've already seen them cross paths. But see, that's the thing. Are they going to go back to NXT with Braun Breakker and Carmelo Hayes at some point? Are we going to see Braun Breakker and, like, who else is really on the come up? Him and Dominik Mysterio? I mean, I don't know. There's not really that many names that come to mind. And if I'm thinking of younger talent, because we can say, oh, him and LA Knight. We can say him and CM Punk. We can say him and who else? Damn, I don't even know, because I know some other people on like the other show. If he crossed paths with the Wyatts, I don't know. But that's the thing. It's like, what names are there for him? If he's the future, who is his dance partners
with this guy? And right now, with Paul Heyman hitching his wagon to him, you can see that they know that this is going to be somebody that will be at the tippy top for a long time. The other name that comes to mind is Dom Mysterio. Dom is such an interesting case with WWE for me as a fan, because seeing him come into WWE with Rey Mysterio, and it was during the pandemic era, everything, and he was just all colored in blue and red, and his head was all short, and he was just smiling all the time. I hated it.
Bro, Dominik Mysterio, and I gotta clap it up for Dom, bro. Dominik Mysterio got that nepotism stuff out of here. He is no longer just, that's Rey Mysterio's kid. He has earned his keep, and I will forever say that heel turn when he kicked Edge in the sack and he clotheslined his dad and he joined the Judgment Day was the best turning point in his career. It was an absolute need. Pairing him up with Rhea Ripley, absolutely. We got a new Chyna and Eddie. Absolutely loved it. So I don't currently see him being in like a main event headlining WrestleMania right now, but that is always subject to change because he has definitely earned his keep.
I hated Dom Mysterio on my television. I really did. I thought when he initially came in and it felt like more of like this casual thing. Oh, he's gonna team up with his dad and that's fun. Like, okay, we'll get a cool moment.
Right.
Oh, they're tag team champions. I'm like, that's kind of fun. And he just kept going and going and going. I hated Dom's character because there was no character. I thought his wrestling was very slow. I've always hated, always. Until like now, like where I'm okay with it. Dom's 619. I hate
He's too
it
tall.
so very much.
He's too tall.
Positive here. I'm not a wrestler. The hell do I know? But I can tell you, I hated how he swung through the ropes and Dom just kind of like slaps them, like just taps somebody with his knees, and they're all like, "Oh, they're overselling and all that." But
he's
anyways,
too tall,
I hated
bro.
Dom's initial run with WWE, and then with Judgment Day happened, and it's evolved to now. Even Judgment Day was pretty good because he was getting the giant boos. Dom is like turning this corner right now, where the comedic side is coming out, where people know that Dom is funny, where they know he's good in the ring, that he's a good, compelling character. He's got the Eddie Guerrero stuff in my eyes.
Absolutely.
Obviously, because he's clearly Eddie's
It's
son.
Eddie's
But that
Eddie's
comedic
son.
stuff in the ring, we saw some of this with the AJ Styles match. Dom, I think, is going to be your Eddie Guerrero for modern era. That's a big thing to say, but I just feel like they're gonna put a lot behind Dom Mysterio. They already have, but you can see once all this Judgment Day stuff is long gone, it's in the past. Guys like Finn Balor finally retired, even though Finn looks like he's 25 years old all the time. But once this Judgment Day stuff is fully done and Dom finally has to be on his own, and that is something that he has never done. Dom Mysterio specifically has never been on his own. He's been with Ray, then he's been with Rhea, he's been with Liv, he's been with Judgment Day. He's never been a solo act. He's always been a supporting cast member, or he's just been part of an
faction.
overall ensemble. I would love to see it one day in the next 2 to 3 years. Dom is officially on his own, and I think the crowd would be ready for it. Then you can get matches of.
I'm wondering if they're gonna be using some of the like what Dom is gonna be doing in AAA. If that's gonna be an indication of like, I mean, obviously, you know, it's different. It's a different product than WWE, but the reaction that Dominik Mysterio got when he came out and he unveiled himself in AAA, that was insane. So I think that Dom can hold his own. And I think I've had this discussion before on stream about what is it going to look like when Dominik Mysterio finally gets away from the Judgment Day. And I'm glad he mentioned that because my bad, Matt. This is a crazy
Breakker.
That's a crazy steal I had you on. My bad. But I lost my train of thought. That looked like, you know what that looked like? Sidebar real quick. That looked like on Super Mario 64 where you can kind of like move his face around and change his facial features. But anyway. But yes, it's going to be interesting to see how Dominik Mysterio is when he's on his own. And I think that everything he's done in the Judgment Day has helped him prepare for this. Because now he's his own guy. He's his own guy.
Dom Mysterio. I think he will be one of those guys. Another one might be pretty obvious too that could probably be the headlining main event of a WrestleMania in the next 5 years. Jacob Fatu.
How did I forget about Jacob? But I guess I wasn't thinking about Jacob because Jacob's in his 30s too. And I want to say, how old is Jacob Fatu? Is he younger or older than me? Because maybe okay, so we the same age. Okay, so he's in his mid 30s. So 5 years from now, yeah, he could still be around. He probably could really get a good boost 2-3 years from now when the other guys kind of fade to black a little bit. But yeah, Jacob's not a bad option either. This is a good call.
I think WWE sees that in this short window that Jacob Fatu has been on television on main roster TV with WWE, he has outperformed. He debuted, it's huge pops. Everyone loves
He took
Jacob.
over the bloodline.
He's great as a heel. He's great as a babyface. He's got that character. He's got that it factor. I'd love to see it before the time is up. I'd love to see Roman versus Jacob one-on-one. Similar to Dom, where I think with Jacob, once he gets past
I'm mad they couldn't sell him Cavs shirts online.
And that is officially kind of done, or even if they just separate brands and you get a Fatu who's going to go to Raw or something, kind of like Jey Uso going away on his own, to see Jacob mix it up with a Braun Breakker in a couple of years. They've teased that on TV.
They
and people went
have.
nuts for it. Just the tease, just looking at each other. There's stuff there where you could line up Jacob with a lot of heavy hitters, and even over the course of the next, let's say, 3 years, he can be in a position like a Braun Breakker where he's having those kind of final matches for the old guard, for the ones of like Roman Reigns, for Cody Rhodes, for Randy Orton, where he's having these matches with people that are kind of on the cusp of retirement or going part-time. That's where I see Fatu really stepping up, and he's going to be one of those headliners on the show. Gunther, I mentioned earlier. Gunther, I think, is going to be around. All things go well, he's going to be around at the main event at the very top for several years to come. I'd love to see what's going to be like for Gunther in 5 years' time. Will he be WWE champion and the biggest villain in the company, or he gets another giant epic title run? I don't know. I don't know what you're going to do with Gunther. It'd be just interesting to see, but I see him at the top and having new, younger baby faces having to climb that mountain to take down Gunther. So speaking of young baby faces, I have one name on my list that I'm like, I don't know if he's going to be around, and he's been around WWE for a while now, but I don't know if he's going to be around the company. And it may be a situation like a Cody Rhodes, like that, or Drew McIntyre, where they leave and they come back. Austin Theory. In with WWE.
Where is Austin Theory? If I remember correctly, that man is, they've either removed him or moved him to the alumni section. Where is Austin Theory? What happened? What happened? I feel like Austin Theory was just one, he was too young when Vince was trying to push him to the moon. You know what happens when you try to force feed us anything, we don't want to accept it. Happened with Roman Reigns. Next thing you know, we get not big dog, we get tribal chief, and then just the perfect iteration of Roman. What happened to Austin Theory?
For a while. He's had big matches. He's had big moments. Money in the Bank. Match with John Cena. He's great in the ring. He can go on the microphone. Packaging just needs some work. He's got to find the character. Super funny. If you see interviews with him, he's great. He kind of checks all the boxes for WWE, and he's young. But right now, today, there's like words of, oh, he's actually injured, and WWE's taking him off the roster page and whatever. But if he's not going to be around, if he's going to be maybe in a year, one of the unfortunate names on like a release list, I wouldn't be surprised by it because they haven't used him at all. They just kind of ended the Grayson Waller tag team stuff. But he is somebody that I'm like, man, if they could just crack what to do with him, I think sky's the limit. He could be a really huge baby face, but they've never positioned him right. And I don't think,
and they missed the mark on that. I don't know what happened with the Austin Theory, Grayson Waller breakup. They've been teasing that for so long, and then it got to a point where there was on both ends, one of them was letting the other one get beat up, and it was like they weren't really stepping in, but they were still hanging around. But you can kind of see cracks in the Shield, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. And now Grayson's with the New Day. I think Grayson Waller could have been the good heel in that situation, and Austin Theory would have been a good babyface, and they could have ran a program with them, but I do not know what happened.
I think they've done him any favors over the years. And maybe it is one of those things with an Austin Theory that he needs to get released so he can go to AEW, go to New Japan, go to the Indies, and start carving out his following, his name, and get that traction. And then when he's in his mid-30s, then he can come back to WWE and be an even bigger deal. It could be one of those.
He could pull a Matt Cardona. Y'all remember Zack Ryder? Then that fool left, and then
situations, and that's not a bad thing. Another name on the list is Montez Ford. Now,
oh my God, this is about to piss me off. This is about to piss me off. Not you, Matt. Not you. But the fact that we have asked over and over and over for a Montez Ford singles push. And I get it, man. Listen, we like Dawkins too. I don't know, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know what we do with Dawkins. But Montez just has single star written all over him, bro. He has the aura, the swagger. He can go in the ring. We know that. He looks like a primetime player, but I don't know.
Ford is not like some young spry chicken. I know that. But he's got many years to go with WWE. I love the Street Profits, but personally, I've always wanted to see Montez Ford as a singles guy.
I'm telling you.
He's great in the ring, he can go on the microphone, he's entertaining, he's got all of those elements. I think you can capitalize on him. I think there's a lot of money behind a solo run of Montez Ford. Remember even a couple...
And that's why we here, bro. That's why we here, because, like, what?
couple years ago, he had a singles match with Roman on SmackDown. He was in the Elimination Chamber and he did some crazy spots. He's great on his own. So I hope one day they could crack that. Do I see Ford as a WrestleMania main eventer? Maybe. World Heavyweight Champion, it wouldn't be too far-fetched. But somebody I love to see, like, just get him eventually. Get out of the tag team stuff.
Like,
Let's see what you can do on your own. But what about NXT? And that's where I said at the beginning, I feel like NXT is hurting on the men's side, not on the women's side.
Not on the women's side at all.
This video is just to go through the men's main event scene. Because on the women's side, sure, there's going to be names that are going to retire or scale back in 5 years' time. But I feel like they're really loaded. They got a lot of names.
They are loaded in the women's division.
Sure. Obvious names that could be main eventers, that could be in that title scene in a couple of years' time. Trick Williams, I think he got to get to main roster at some point. Trick has all the tools and packaging and all.
I say, all right, before he goes any further, I say Trick Williams, Ethan Page, Javon Evans is going to take a little while, but he'll get there because he's mad young. Oba is probably the biggest one besides Trick Williams. But even with that, they're all in that same little circle. I think Ethan Page is ready for the main roster. I think he was actually ready when he got here, but I'm glad they put him in NXT first. But I don't know, man. Let's see what else Matt says.
All of that, and I think he works great as a babyface and a heel. I think it's a matter of time. I just hope that he can have the success that he's had at NXT, and hopefully that can translate to a larger stage, WWE on the main roster, and I think it can. Obafemi, I think it's just kind of an obvious one. Big, dominant, a Brock Lesnar, a Gunther type, where he can just run roughshod over.
Ooh, Obafemi and Brock Lesnar.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Okay, maybe there is a couple more uses of Brock Lesnar than I thought. Because I just thought about that. That would be a banger. That would be a banger.
An entire division. When he debuts, when he makes it to main roster, I think everyone will see what they have there and how quickly he can just spike up the card. Obafemi versus Jacob Fatu, or Braun Breakker, or names that are going to be winding down, like Obafemi versus Cody Rhodes would be wild in a couple of years. And I also have Ricky Saints. Ethan Page could be on there too.
Oh,
I think they
yeah.
both need
Ricky
to make it to main
Saints.
roster. Like, not in 5 years' time, but in a year, they should try to make it to main roster. And you could build up Ricky Saints as a really good baby face for the company, but Ricky, I find, works way better as a heel. He's so much more entertaining.
Absolutely.
And there's tons of names in NXT, but stuff takes time. But looking at that main roster for the men's side, I do kind of worry and wonder where it's all going to be in 5 years. But let me know, who do you think is going to be main eventing WrestleMania 45, 6, 7, and so on, and what the roster might kind of look like. If you guys want to talk more about WWE and specifically John Cena's retirement, who his final opponents could be, click this video right here. Subscribe to the channel if you can. Have a great day. See ya.
Hey, shout out to my boy, man. Oh, I got Trey over here. Shout out to the boy, man. Good video. Absolutely good video. Wait, where's it at? There we go. Good video, man. But yeah, man, that is definitely seeming to be the issue, or not even the issue, but the concern is the men's division and who's going to replace all of these names when they start winding down. Because you have all of these big names they're tenured, and then you have a new wave of people coming in, and it's really on WWE to place these new names in positions to where they can be main eventers in the future. But big shout out to Matt, man. Appreciate you, big dog.
Thank you.
But yeah, appreciate y'all for watching, man. Let me know what are y'all's thoughts about this video. Definitely go check his video, show him some love. Subscribe to his channel if you have not already. And man, I look forward to having a conversation with him at some point in the future, man. But until next time, I will see y'all back in the ring, man. Y'all can hit the like button for your boy on the way out, and subscribe if you want to see more wrestling content. And I will see y'all back in the ring. Peace.